behind, I I also mean not my family left behind. I recently got a chance to visit my mom, who retired and moved down here to Palm Coast, Florida. And we were down at her house this week. We also moved from Los Angeles to Florida a year and a half ago. And I went by to see my mom's house. And my mom and my dad they bought a three-story house on the beach down here in Palm Coast. And I just marveled at that. I said, Mom, sell me the dream, because I can remember my mom when I was growing up. She was a single mom. She put herself through college, got herself her PhD. Then she turned around and put me through school at USC. She had student loan debt. She didn't own any property. She needed help with her credit so that she could buy a property. She needed help with retirement. And, none of the companies in the industry, I don't remember any of the companies in the financial industry reaching out to help my mom to do those important things in our life. And yet, when I got started with this company on a part-time basis, I got started. My trainer, Christopher Slayman, he went out and sat down with my mom all those years ago and helped her get out of debt, repositioned her retirement, helped her to save money. She didn't lose any money during market downturns. And now she's retired, living an extraordinary lifestyle down here in Florida. And that's just a testament to our company and No Family Left Behind. I've also been able to build an amazing business within the company, and I have amazing mentors in the company as well. Those are my two boys. That's my amazing husband, Kermit, who's really been able to live out his dreams here with the company and the platform. He's a 30-year strength conditioning coach and trainer, has written a best-selling book, has started a business, now has a wellness business. Like, he's just been able to do so many things because of our company and the platform and the freedom and the flexibility that the platform gives us to really design our own life. And those are our two boys. Our oldest is now 30. And our youngest, last one out, is Cassius, named after the greatest of all time. He plays a really high level of lacrosse, and he'll be a senior in high school next year. I can't believe how time flies. But these boys have grown up in the business, and they've been able to see mom and dad work the business, build a business that now, through our heritage program, they'll be able to inherit the business and they'll be able to run it. They'll be able to build the business, have residual income from our business. And that's just, you want to pour your blood, sweat, and tears into something, right? You can pour it into working and working for someone else. Or you know what? You can work hard for a business that you're building for you and your family and yourselves. So as we talk about National Financial Literacy Month, I'm going to give you some demographics before I bring up our two guest speakers. It's interesting when you take a look at, of the 48 million individuals defined as Black or Black Americans or African Americans in the United States, the population has increased dramatically in the last 20 years, from 36 million to 48 million. But the reality is that most Black and African Americans, most of our Black and really our brown communities, are far behind when it comes to the generational wealth gap. And so our company, with its motto of No Family Left Behind, with our ability to sit down and create a free complimentary financial plan, for us to be able to sit down and give you some recommendations to show you how to bridge this wealth gap. Because too many of our people, either they don't know where to get help, they don't know where to find the knowledge, they're intimidated by people that are already in the industry. They want to sit down with somebody that looks like them. They want to sit down with somebody who has the same experience and understands where they're coming from. And that's where our company has come in, our platform has come in and really helped to bridge the gap in terms of this generational wealth disparity that's going on right now. So median Black household income is 44,000 in comparison to 284,000. That's today's stats, you guys. This means that Black households roughly have 15 cents for every $1 in wealth that other households have. And so I'm so proud of our company and what we've been able to do and what we've been able to form within the company to be able to help to bridge that generational gap. Now, if we take a look at income and poverty, so if we take a look at only 27% of households, even Black households, even make more than $100,000 a year. So this speaks to our platform. When you hear from these next two speakers and the amount of income that we're able to make, even on a part-time basis, even I getting started on a part-time basis with our opportunity. Someone helped me get licensed. Someone had a mentor that helped me build this business. And now to be able to go out and make multiple six figures. And I'm a degree person. I have a bachelor's degree. I have an MBA from USC. And yet there was no way that I was ever going to have the flexibility of my time and the flexibility of my income that this opportunity has been able to afford us in our household. And that makes a huge difference, just to be able to have an opportunity to go out and make multiple six figures. And you know what? Many of our leaderships are making multiple seven-figure incomes and even eight-figure incomes here with our company and our opportunity. We're going to talk a little bit more about that tonight. So as we talk about the representation, we've got to talk about not only correcting, making a difference within the financial services industry and no family left behind being our motto. We got to talk about not only making a difference, but we've got to talk about correcting an indifference. Okay, correcting an indifference. So we don't have a money problem, we have a knowledge distribution problem. And I got to tell you, our platform, our leadership, our counsel, our information, the way we put plans together, the way we help families is second to none, because when you close the literacy gap, that's when you literally close the wealth gap. So let's get into some of that knowledge tonight, everyone, as I bring up our first guest speaker this evening. Now, this young gentleman is so impressive. I mean, so impressive. He hails to us from the great country of Cameroon, right? I know he looks younger than he really is, but he has done amazing things in our company in a very short period of time. He's only been with us 5 years. He was a previous career as a registered nurse. Quit his career as a retired, as he say. It doesn't look like he could be retired from nursing, but retired from being a registered nurse. Been with our company for 5 years. He's now executive vice chairman, which is a premier platform. That means you have not only gotten to an elevated level, but you've also helped other individuals reach the broker level, and you're running a large agency of licensed agents with our company. He's executive vice chairman here with our company. He just crossed over $1.2 million in income. So talk about getting degrees and having a career where you could make six figures, but then being able to transfer those skills, the way he helps people, his empathy, his caring, his consideration, transferring all of those into the financial services industry, and now being able, he's married with two kids, and being able to take his entire family to the next level generationally. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to Mr. Lionel Dayegba. Dayegba. Yeah, Dayegba. I got it. Dayegba. Welcome,
Wow,
Lionel.
thank you so much, Nikki, for all you do. I appreciate the introduction. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being on this call tonight. I remember in 2020, I used to pray for such an opportunity to just listen and hear what the other communities are doing differently. And God being kind, somebody invited me to a financial literacy month like this. When I came on board, it changed a lot of things about my life, my mindset, and everything. So I'm gonna share a little journey with you. If you're here for your first or second time, maybe somebody have been trying to have you join something, a group like this, just so you can get financial literacy and you're taking it for granted. I want you to know, as somebody who was just like you 5 years ago, took that same action and they were able to come on a call like this, and their life drastically changed for good. So I want to appreciate God for this opportunity, and I also thank my wife for the support she's given me in business. Uh, we are so blessed to be together because this opportunity have helped us to be able to help and change the lives of other people across North America. We're on social media if you love to follow us, and I'm somebody who believes in faith. One thing, when I was leaving my home country in Cameroon in 2014, my parents prayed over me. And they gave me this scripture, and I hold it every single time, every place I go, because the scriptures promise me that I'll be the head at all times, and I'll never be the tail. I'll lend to nations and not borrow, and some of those great stuff. Some of you know what I'm talking about, but I want you to understand this evening. I want to ask you a question. Do you believe in miracle? It may be where you are, you think it takes a miracle to be able to take you to the next level. It can happen here, which is why we all come together. When I finally, had opportunity to work, when I just got to this country, I thought hard work was the way to go. By the way, the average person on this call, when Nikki was sharing those statistics, I was like, oh my goodness. I can tell you every single one of you know how to work hard. When I started working, guess what? I had 7 jobs my first year because I thought as many jobs as you work, that will help you, to be able to become financially free. So I started as a caregiver, I did Uber and Lyft, Postmate, Instacart. I used to work for several nursing homes, home health, group homes. So where did I not work? I thought as many hours as I put on the clock was gonna help me become financially free. Now, when people look at me, they don't understand the journey of how I started was supposed to lead me to be the best nurse so I can be able to help my family make the most of the income that an average nurse makes. I graduated from University of Central Oklahoma. I was working as an oncology nurse, so I was dealing with a lot of cancer patients. But I kept asking questions. When COVID hit and a lot of things was on slowdown, after a year and 18 months, my employer called me to the office and they were like, man, I want to appreciate you for such a great job you're doing and all these things you're helping our patients. And that we just gave you a raise. And after, several deliberations, I realized the raise was 26 cents. So it takes almost 2 years to make what, 26-cent raise? Something was not right. So I decided to go for further education. So when I came on a call like this, I was actually on my journey to become a nurse practitioner because I see that's the trend, to get to freedom in my community. And I embraced it until this guy right here. This is my coach, my mentor. I want to ask you on this call, do you have a mentor? Every single place you see Mr. Emmanuel Tita, just look around, you will see me. Because since the first day, I realized you need to have a coach, you need to have somebody who is successful to be able to take you there. I just adopted myself. He took me as a younger brother, was coaching me, mentoring me, changing my life. And today, all what you see is as a result of the one single phone call this man made to me. By the way, he had to follow me up for 6 months because I was a tough to get person. And I had opportunity to meet with some of my leaders. I was invited to Dallas. That's when I got to meet Mr. Daniel Fumbo. I met Dr. Kwende for the very first time. I was so excited because everything, the Zoom era, it started in 2020. We thought all of this was about Zoom. But we connected in person. We came back, we got invited for our very first event. They told us when you go to a big event, you can't change people's life, but when you take them to a life-changing event, it changes everything. I took my wife here and everything changed about our business. Then we started, having multiple events to travel and visit, mentored. We'll get mentored by Mr. Zagrans, Danny Fumble, Dr. Kwende, and every other person who makes over $1 million here. We also heard there was a conference coming up in Vegas and we're excited. We wanted to go witness whatever was happening in Vegas because big events stretches your vision, it stretches your dream, and you're like, okay, if people like this can do it, I can do it as well. I kept believing the power of, attending event and being around those who are successful. When you hang out with 5 successful people, you are bound to become the 6th. So every opportunity we get to travel, I also had privilege to meet some of the best leaders in the industry. I met, Mr. Zag, like I've said. I met, Dan Chalier and all of these great leaders. And they impact so much in you. You see how humble all of these leaders are because of what the power of financial literacy. So I'm so privileged and blessed to be in this great organization because you don't have to pay for mentorship. Here, you have leaders who are so selfless to pour into you. You just have to believe and give them your hand to hold your hands to the top. So through the power of this opportunity, we've been able to qualify for multiple trips, all expense paid. We're in Sweden, for the last Odyssey trip. We went through several places in Norway, had such a great time and several experiences we've had, meet new people, create new friendships, People who thought this was too good to be true and they denied us to be their friends, they are now looking at us like, oh my God, you guys now have a new family? Yes, because here we are like a family. We kept traveling. We have been changing lives. Like right now, I'm licensed across 40 plus states. So every single 2 weeks, we are out of town trying to pour belief into other people so they can be able to move to the top of their financial goals. We've had opportunity to speak in multiple conferences. The last one in Las Vegas, my wife and I had the privilege to be able to speak, which I'm grateful. But when people look at Lionel Diega, you know what they see? This is what they see, but they don't know that it all started like this. People like the now, they don't want to know the journey. So if you're here, I don't know whether you're already wealthy or you want to be the first person who is gonna liberate your family from financial bondage or whatever you call it. You have to take a step. You have to stand with the right people. And here, through the power of Black excellence, I tell you, the force, the energy we have here is comparable to none. Everybody can win here. By the way, I was an introvert. I didn't even know how to talk. But today, through leadership and coaching, I've been able to learn so many things. Last year, just for those who are Thomases like I used to be, if you feel like they don't make money here, I started here spare time couple of years ago. After 9 months, my income was over 200,000. And I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe this spare time or part time I was doing is time to go full time. April of 2021, I went full time and I've never looked back because my goal was what? To make become a multi-millionaire and help other people in my organization become multi-millionaires as well. In my community, they say there's an African proverb. Say, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go with people. We have been able to within the last 5 years, build an agency of over 1,100 licensed agents. And now these are just the few that are making over six figures. So I call it in my team the six-figure Hall of Fame. All this I have. I'm gonna be promoting my first millionaire this year, this month, which I'm so grateful. She's just a little bit closer to hitting 1 million. We have two have $1 million ring earner. We have one at 350, another one at 285, one at 250,000. One just became 200,000 earner last month. And all these individuals who've seen their journey, they just believe they started from scratch. And I tell you, they didn't know anything about financial literacy, but just having that leap of faith, say, I want to learn. I want to be able to impact lives of other people, having a very great heart to love others and put the needs of others before theirs, and their lives are drastically changing. And we are not stopping there. We are just getting started. Because when I look at all these leaders and all our coaches, all our mentors, the impact they are bringing in the community, I can only dream because the future is brighter than the sun. So thank you so much, Nikki, for this opportunity to speak. And thank you, everybody, for being here. I know maybe you're not where you want to be right now, but I promise you, just get on board. Let's get going. Before you know it, 5, 10 years from now, you will never, ever have to pray about money. Thank you so much. Take it over.
That is incredible, Lionel, and thank you so much for sharing that story. Like that is so inspiring, so heartwarming to know that you come from an industry that cares for people, that takes care of people, and that you could leave that training and that education and that coaching, and you could come to an entirely new industry that you didn't know anything about. But it just took everything that was in your character already to apply here in the financial services industry. And now it's a win-win. Now you get to win for your family and you get to win for other people's family at the same time. That's a beautiful story, Lionel. And I appreciate you so much for sharing that. That's super exciting. Our next speaker, our closing speaker this evening is someone who Lionel just mentioned him, is an incredible mentor. He's not just a mentor to Lionel, he's a mentor to myself and thousands of people here within our company, you guys. Dr. Martin Kwende, let me just give you a little bit of background. There's no way I can even introduce him. No way that I can even introduce him correctly, but I'll just give it a try. He's been with our company now over 15 years. He's now executive chairman with our company, which just means all that means is that he has built an enormous company of thousands of agents who have turned around and helped hundreds of families be able to retire, be able to protect their families, be able to send their kids to college. And he's got thousands of leaders, right? Like you just talked about, Lionel just talked about mentorship. He's got thousands of leaders that he's mentored and developed, selfless, incredibly selfless, with not only his time, but his expertise and his knowledge. And he's been able to mentor leaders to not only go out and make multiple six figures, but he's mentored leaders to be able to go out and make multiple seven figures within their communities, completely change the course of their families' lives, even generationally, you guys. We're talking about generational wealth, which is incredible. He's got multiple degrees. He comes from the background of Silicon Valley as an executive in the medical devices space. But really, he saw an opportunity here to build something so much bigger. His ultimate vision is to help the African diaspora create generational wealth through financial empowerment and leadership. You guys are in for, if you want your vision stretched, if you've been thinking too small, if you've been looking for an opportunity to have a bigger vision and think bigger and do something incredibly significant for your family as well as for other people, you guys, Dr. Martin Kwende.
Oh, Nikki, thank you so much. That was super, super kind of you. I'm always glad to see you. Nikki is one of the very best in the industry. She's someone that I have so much respect for, right? We are very, very close, right? Like she says, and she's one of the best financial advisors in the industry, like she told you. Right, so Nikki, thank you so much for always being a great sister, right? I'm always looking forward to seeing you and to talking to you and learning and growing together. And also, I just want to thank, my little brother, Lionel Daevga. He's the youngest millionaire in the company, in my view. Okay. I watch him kind of grow in the business, and I want to appreciate Mr. Emmanuel Tita for bringing his little brother into the business and holding his hand all the way until Lionel becomes a millionaire. And then he's also promoting other millionaires. What an amazing platform this is, right? So if you're here for the first time, trust me, this is an amazing place to be. It's changed my life. It can change yours too, right? So Nikki said what? Our community will have what? A knowledge distribution problem. Financial knowledge distribution problem. That's what we have. And the question is, how do we fix it? All of us go to school, but we don't learn about money. It makes sense. We learn about everything except money. And that seems to be the problem. So if you're here for the first time, I'm talking to you. I'm about to show you some of the basic things that you have to understand. But in the process, I want to show you my journey and how this platform changed my life and the life of my community as well. So let me see if I can share my slides real quick here. But I'm going to start by asking you a few questions, okay? And you don't have to answer, you just can indicate, but I want to think more about it than anything, okay? So I have 5 questions up front. And I'm just curious, does your current career have the horsepower to take you to your dreams? Are you financially where you thought you'd be by now? If you save the next 5 years the same like the last 5, would that be okay with you? Is your retirement totally set? And the last question, is your children's education plan in place if you have kids? The sad part is for most people, all this answer will be a negative, right? So what does that mean? It means you probably enjoy financial chaos. I hope that's not you, okay? Because 3 things in life are going to give you financial chaos. Number 1, you're going to get sick at some point, okay? The American Heart Association says 1 in 3 people are going to have cancer. You probably know someone that has one right now. 1 in 4 people are going to get a stroke, and 1 in 5 people are going to have a heart attack. So it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. So my question is, if that were to happen to you right now, do you have income in place to replace or something to replace your income if you get sick? Number 2, we are all going to die at some point. That's a given. When you do you want to leave your family a legacy or a liability? And number 3, at some point, hopefully, you can choose to retire. Now they tell us that what? That your personal savings, your company pensions, and Social Security is going to make it happen. Trust me, it's probably not going to. Okay? So these three things are going to give you financial chaos. Now, who would like to have financial peace of mind? I'm assuming that everyone on this call will probably want that. Is that correct? So listen, my name is Dr. Martin Kwende again. I'm married to this beautiful wife, and I was married for over 25 years, right? We're executive chairperson in WAG right now, but it didn't start that way. It started like the same for most of you, right? I'm from Cameroon, West Africa, just like Lionel. But when I was born, I'm the last of 8 siblings. But I never knew my father. My mother was just a poor farmer. So we're broke. But she told me I have to go to school, I have to go to church, just like they told Lionel about going to church, right? My mother said, if you go to church, life will be good. So I went to church, and I found out there was a heavenly father that if I do everything I'm supposed to do, God will do the rest. That confidence has stayed with me up to today. But the other thing she said was that you have to go to school. And if you have multiple degrees, life will be awesome, like they told most of you. So guess what? I took school very seriously. When I used to walk to school, I didn't have shoes because we couldn't afford it. So I used to walk 5 miles to my school, 5 miles back. And then my mother would take my food 5 miles in the other direction to the farm. So I'll be walking like 20 miles every day. So I made the resolution that what if I grow up and I have money, I'm going to buy a lot of shoes. Why am I telling you that? Because every one of you has a void in your past. Shoes were my void. What percent of your void has anything to do with money? If you're honest, it's probably 95%. Do you realize if you solve your money problem, most of your voids will be solved? That's the issue with like what? Financial knowledge. Does that make sense? Now, when I started going to school, when I was 16 years old, my mother passed away in a car accident, and I became an orphan. And I told myself that when I grow up and I have kids, I want to have them have a whole different style in life than I did. I'm assuming a lot of you have kids. This is my question to you. If your kids get to your age right now and they're exactly in the same financial situation that you're in, who'll be okay with that? Most of you tell me, no, you will not want them to be there, but you're okay with that lifestyle. Now, when I went to school, I was so serious. I got a scholarship to study in England. Okay, I left Africa in 1988. This is all I took with me because I was broke, but I was full of hope. I said, God is going to do something with my life. Make sense? So I got as many degrees as possible. I have a bachelor's in physical electronics. I have a PhD in biomedical engineering, and then I have an MBA. I said, if education was going to cut it, I'm going to get all the degrees up front. And then I married very well. My wife has 4 degrees, okay? So in my household, we had 7 degrees. So I went to Silicon Valley. I used to make things you put in people, brain simulators, pacemakers, stent, balloon catheters. I did that for 20 solid years. I went all the way to executive level, but I used to say when I was at the bottom of the top, I couldn't get to the top of the corporate ladder, specifically. Make sense? But life was good. So I put my kid in private school. We traveled the world. But guess what? Something started happening. I started discovering that I didn't have total control of my time. I didn't have control of my ability to make money or to help people the way I wanted to. Why? I used to make pacemakers that cost like $20,000. None of you here would probably be able to write a check for $20,000 if you need a pacemaker right now. That makes sense? So guess what? Most of you probably have the same issues like I had. No control of my time, limited control of my money, and my ability to make impact. Because of this, I started asking a ton of questions. Make sense? And so I got some answers. They told me that there are 4 types of people in the world. As I say this, ask yourself, which one are you? People number 1 is people who hate what they do and they don't get paid enough. That's like cleaners. People number 2 is people who love what they do and they still don't get paid enough. That's like Lionel being a registered nurse. I believe they do a lot, but they don't get paid enough. Number 3 is people who love what they do, get paid enough, but they don't have time. That was me in my corporate job. And the last one is people who love what they do, get paid enough, and they have time to enjoy it. That's me right now. That's Lionel right now. You guys get the point? So guess what? We teach you how to become number 4. But what do most people do to get number 4? We go to school. But when you go to school, guess what? They're going to teach you 4 of the 5 things you're supposed to know. Science, engineering, medicine, politics, stroke order. But guess what? They're not going to teach you about money, how to own a business. You have an MBA, so don't lie that they told you don't. They don't teach anything about money in school. Does that make sense? But what do we work for? We work for money. So all of us go to school and we study and work for someone who have no clue how it actually works. So my point is what? All of us normally have what I call a non-money education. Question, how well is your non-money education working for you right now? Probably not very well. So because of this, I decided to go study money. So I left my career to go study money. This is the first thing I learned. It's something called the wealth equation. It's very simple. All it says is that when you make income, you subtract your lifestyle, you have savings. So question, how many of you would say that you're living your dream lifestyle right now? If you're honest, the answer is probably going to be no. How many of you have enough savings for the future that you desire? If you're honest, it's probably going to be no too. Why? Because none of us are making enough money. If this is the wealth equation and everything is strike, what type of lifestyle would you say you're living then? Some people call it paycheck to paycheck. Some people call it just surviving. Some people call it JOB, just over broke. When God made Adam, he said, I want Adam to go and conquer the earth. How do we settle for survival? What if I told you that on our company's platform, we can teach you how to make enough income to live your best lifestyle and still have an amazing future, like Lionel or like Nikki, who would want something like that? I hope that is you. If it is, you have to understand what we do. We teach about to build wealth. 5 simple steps. Number 1, you have to make income. You're going to learn a skill. Whatever skill you learn, you have to make income first. Okay. But the issue is that there are 2 types of income. The first one is called working income. You trade time for money 8 to 12 hours a day, but the time is limited. The second option is called passive income. You leverage other people's time and other people's money. So you own a business. People work for you. Guess what? Most people only make working income but not passive income. What if I told you that a company allows you, a platform allows you to make passive income? What do I propose to anyone? If you are here for the first time, guess what? Since you love your boss, I want to say this. What if we do half and half? You do half working income, we should have to make half of your income from passive. How do you like that for a start? Once you make money, guess what? You have to save, okay, for a rainy day. And guess what? You need to grow the money. But the point is, we don't learn about money. So we have 3 ways to grow money. You just need to understand this. Number 1 is called fixed, like in your bank. It doesn't grow very much. Number 2 is called variable, like a 401k goes up, then it goes down, then it goes up. And people go like, oh, that's kind of cool. But my question is, who loves to lose some of their money from time to time? Probably no one. What if you combine these 2? So the market goes up, your money goes up, it goes down. You look at the blue now, you lock it in. It goes up, you go up, goes down. It's called what? Index growth option. Which of these would you prefer? Since most of you already have fixed and variable, what if we show you to add index to your portfolio? Probably be a smart thing to do. Make sense? The 4th thing is what? Protection. Every time you try to grow wealth, you're going to expose yourself to 4 main risks. The first one is called what? Income loss. I told you already, if you get sick, you get into an accident, guess what? If your income is not coming, look at my screen. If your income stops, step number 1, guess what? You're going to go to your savings. Once you take out your savings, nothing to grow, you're going to be broke. What if I told you there's a way to replace your income if you get sick so you can allow your wealth building process to continue? The second one is market downturn. Remember I told you the index, it protects you from market downturn. The third one is inflation. If you put your money in a fixed account, for example, it's not really growing, you're going to lose buying power. And the last one is called what? Taxes. In this country, they say it's not how much money you make, it's how much you get to keep, which means you have to understand how the tax system works. Now, they give you 3 options. Now, I'm not a tax expert, but I want you to understand that you get taxed based on the accounts that you use. Okay, so the first one is called tax now. You tax annually. You have savings account, banks, CD, brokerage account. Every year you're going to get 1098, something of that nature, and they're going to tax you annually. Okay. The second one, if you put your money like in a 401k, IRA, annuities, pension plan, you're going to have what they call tax deferred. You're not going to pay tax right now, but you're going to pay later. And some people think that that's cool. But let me ask you a question. Do you think taxes are going to be going down or up in the future based on the debt that we have in this country? It's probably going to go up. Some says, you know what? Don't pay me tax right now. Wait until when the tax, I need a lot more money. I'm going to tax you anything I want. Sound like a great idea, right? Probably not. But at the same time, they give you a third way to get tax. It's called what? Tax upfront or tax advantage. If you put them in a municipal bond, Roth IRA, executive bonus plan, cash value in life insurance, you can pay tax upfront, but when you take the money out, no taxes. These are your 3 ways to pay tax. It's up to you based on the accounts that you use. The question is, how would you like to get taxed? It's up to you. Make sense? Now, the last step is called what? Transfer. What does that mean? You have to have an estate plan to make sure that you can avoid probate, right? That whatever you work at can be transferred to your next generation. These are the 5 simple steps of building wealth. If you are here for the first time, my question for you is this: which of these 5 things do you need help with the most? We help you with each of these 5 steps, but we don't charge you to do that. If you are listening to me right now, you are here for the first time, please, if somebody invited you, I want you to right now text them today, like right now, text them 1, 2, 3, or 4, which of them you need help with, or all 5. You guys hear me? Because if I don't tell you, you're going to procrastinate. But I want you to procrastinate against procrastination and actually do it right now. Text the person that invited you like right now and tell them I need to sit down. I need help with number 1 or number 2, whatever number you need help with. Does that make sense? Now, so what do we really do then? We are showing families how to build financial prosperity so they can live their best life. How? By learning 3 things. 1, you have to have some basic financial concepts. I just showed you a couple of them already. I'll show you one more. You have to know where to put the money. Is it in the 401k? Is it in the bank? Wherever. The last one, what kind of companies, what brands should you put your money in? I'll go through that real quick. So bottom line, I use a very basic financial concept because it helped me to understand what we do. Imagine that this is you right here on my left. You put your money in the bank. They pay you typically 0.1%. But if I borrow your money, they might charge me 10%. If I have a mortgage, 6% a year for 30 years, that's 180% interest plus 100% of the principal. You're going to pay 280%. That means what? If you buy a house for 1 million, you're going to pay about 2.8 million at 6% a year. That's how banking works. But think about it for a second. You put your money in the bank, they pay you 0.1%, they charge me 10%. Most of you don't do the math. If I divide 10 by 0.1, the bank is making what? 100 times on the money. Now, I don't know about you, but I was very mad when I saw this. But then I learned something very important. Banks have mastered something called what? Other people's money. That's the number 1 way you can make wealth. Now, this is the trick, though. If you had a new job, you go to the bank, they're going to ask you, hey, you want to open an account? Yes. We're going to charge you $10 a month, right? Then they quickly ask you, if you have you want to do direct deposit, they're going to waive the $10 fee. Guess what? All of us have direct deposit. Every 2 weeks, boom, in the bank. That's how banks make a lot of money. It makes sense? So you have to understand how to leverage other people's money. Question right now, how much of other people's money is working for you? Right? So what I learned is what? If you master how to skip the bank, guess what? That money can be growing for you instead of for the bank. When they showed me this in 2010 for the first time, I was like, man, how do you get to tell somebody else to skip the bank? They said, you need a state license. I said, please sign me up for the license. So sign me up for the license right away. And I started teaching the community how to learn how to navigate the financial system. But they also told me that what, if you did something like this, guess what? If I showed Lionel, for example, how to make 10%, he can easily keep 8 and give me 2 because I don't work for free. But that means what? If I have 100 people, each one of them gets 8%, I get 2% 100 times, I can make 200%. That's how we make money here, what? By helping other people navigate the financial system. That makes sense? Now, where should you put your money? Right here, in multiple different accounts. Every financial tool has a different use. And I always do this from this way. If you go to a pharmacy right now, you're going to see a lot of medications. Every medication has a side effect. However, if you use the medication for the right indication, then the benefits are always outweigh the side effects. The same way with all financial tools. For example, your bank, even though it has only 3 out of the 10 benefits, a bank is a place for you to save your emergency money. For example, you go to an ATM at midnight, you can get money out. But a bank is not the best place to grow your money. Right? If you have a 401k, it only has 1 out of 10 benefits. But guess what? If you put 6% in the 401k and they match 6%, you just double your money. But if you put anything more than what they match, you're actually using it the wrong way. Make sense? The third one is what? Brokerage account. So what's my point? I'm going to show you 2 quick accounts that you need to know about that most people don't tell you. The first one is called a fixed index annuity. That account, the same money you put in your 401k with 1 benefit, you can move the same money into the FIA and it comes with 6 benefits. Question, if that is true, where would you rather have your money, in your 401k or in the FIA? That's like a no-brainer. Make sense? Now, what does the company not show you? Because it's not the obligation to show you the best place to put your money. What is this FIA? You have to understand it. One of our top companies is called Athene, right? These are the benefits. Number 1, your money is indexed, so you never lose money. There's 0 risk. Number 2, you are guaranteed a paycheck, which is like a private pension plan. Number 3, you can access the money anytime you want, even if there's a fee. Your 401k is limited to how many loans you have. And lastly, guess what? It helps avoid probate right away. So the FI is an account that I believe every person needs to know about if you plan to retire. However, what if I told you there's an account even better than the FIA? That account is called an IUL, Index Universal Life. And this is the key. This account only works best if you design it correctly and you fund it correctly. But it's one of the best accounts in the financial industry if you do those 2 things, right? Now, you look on my screen, you see the bank has what? 3 benefits. The IUL has 10. Okay, now this is a trick though. If you leave your money in the bank is going to open the IUL with your money in the bank's name because you don't know what's going on. They collect 10 benefits, they pass 3 to you, they keep 7. How does that feel? Would you rather give the money to the bank or open this IUL yourself? That's like a no-brainer. Now, this IUL has a bunch of benefits. On the one side, it has protection. If you look at the 5 steps of building wealth, step number 4 was what? Protection. It protects your income when you die. Okay? So it leaves your income to your family, but it also protects your income when you're alive. If you have critical, chronic, or terminal illness. And on the right side, guess what? Your money is growing interest with index interest. You can access the money as a withdrawal as a loan. It has tax advantages, and it has extra protection in case you get sued. So this is one of the best financial tools that I know about in the financial industry if you design it and fund it correctly. Now, because I'm telling you this, I don't want you to believe me. I want you to go look it up. So go do some research, but don't just go on Google, read some books. This is a quick book I recommend for everyone to read. Does that make sense? So if you see right here, it says what? Money, Wealth, Life Insurance. But if you see in small print, what does it say? How the wealth use life insurance as a tax-free personal bank to supercharge their savings. It says nothing about anybody dying. Make sense? So guess who's using this account? Banks, bank on life insurance, BLEC, corporation on life insurance. And guess who is also using the top wealthy 5%? Guess who does not use this account? I call them the broke 95%. Question, would you rather be part of the broke 95% or the wealthy 5%? Where's your account then? Right? If you open that book I just told you, it's like $8.50. On page 10, you're going to see banks. Bank of America, you see 19.6 billion. Pay attention to that number. This book was written in 2013. Bank of America has 19.6 billion in that account. If you have your money in Bank of America, you have to think this money is part of your money. Make sense? Now, if you look, this is actually online. In 2013, I just looked so you can see Bank of America has $19.6 billion in this account. However, these accounts were opened in 1997, the first one by Transamerica, by the way. But in 2003, no bank had any money in this account. But by 2004, guess what? Washington Mutual had over $2 billion in that account. That bank doesn't exist right now. Okay? In 2025, just last year, Bank of America had 25 billion. So the money went up. Does that tell you something? Probably. Make sense? Companies do the exact same thing. If you go to page 12 of the book, General Electric, AT&T, some of you know this company, Starbucks, Avon, Comcast, Verizon, Amway, Panera Bread, CVS. But if you work for this company, they're going to give you a 401k, and then the top executives get an IUL, for example. Why? Because they know what you don't know. Does that make sense? So, I'd like to just teach you something very quick. Okay, if you think about insurance, you buy $100,000 car, you're gonna have a contract. You need to have a contract to do that. So you're gonna have, say, Safeco Insurance. They're gonna insure you, but guess what they're gonna say? They're gonna tell you have to pay a premium. Does that make sense? To insure your car, and you might have a deductible for like $1,000. But guess what? If you total the car, you have an accident, you're only on the hook for $1,000. They take up the $99,000. Guess what? When you buy insurance, you basically transfer risk from yourself to the company. Does that make sense? That's the concept of insurance. Now, why am I saying this? If you work at the job, they're also going to give you some insurance. They're going to give you what? Life insurance at the job. They're going to give you disability insurance. They're going to give you a 401k, for example, to save for retirement. The question is the job giving you this because they love you? Probably not. The only reason the job is giving you this is because what they don't want to pay money to your family from their pocket if something happens. So they buy insurance to transfer risk from themselves to what? To the insurance company. How do I know this? When you change job, you go from one job to the other. Which of these benefits can you take with you? Usually is what? Just the 401k. Why do they cancel the other two? Because they are not their responsibility anymore. But my question to you is, do you still need to have protection? Yes. Now you're putting money in a 401k. I just told you it's probably not the best account. So this is my point. What if you redirect the money put in the wrong account into an IUL setting so you have all these other benefits? Is that like a no-brainer? Absolutely. All I'm suggesting is what? You redirect money, put in the wrong account, put in the right account. Guess what? Boom, your life will change. Make sense? Now, you can set up this account for kids as well. They can have it for the entire lifetime. A kid is 2 weeks old, they get a social. You set up the exact same account. If you put it correctly, they can withdraw money for college tax-free. And when they get older, money from that account can be used for house down payment, buying a car, whatever they have to start their lives. Is there any reason why every child in our community shouldn't have an account like this now that you understand? Probably not. Make sense? Where does this money go? These are some of our top companies right here. Pacific Life, Prudential, Nationwide, Transamerica. We have over 100 companies that we work with. Make sense? Now, some of you, if I ask the question, is your money in this company? If you're here for the first time, you'll be like, no, but guess what? The bank has put your money here, but in the bank's name. Makes sense? But you can take your money out of the bank and put it here yourself. Okay? Now, I already told you what? If you actually help someone skip the bank, you can make some money. It's called what? Other people's money. Does that make sense? But imagine that I showed Lionel how to do the same thing. He goes and helps Nikki. Guess what? He gets the 2%, but I can get a bit of his 2%. So I can have 1,000 Lionels. I can make money without being there. It's called what? Other people's time. Now, I came into this company in 2010. I didn't understand these two concepts, OPT, other people's time, and other people's money. But guess what? I studied WFG for 4 years. Okay, 4 years I studied WFG, and I discovered after 4 years that this is probably the best platform, that it has those two concepts of OPT and OPM. And my job didn't have it. Guess what? Your job doesn't have it either. And if you don't have OPT, OPM, you're going to die broke. Let me just be straight. Okay, so after studying WFG for 4 years, I only made 28,000 my 4th year. I made a big decision. I decided to go all in. I quit everything. I left my job. I made my way leave a job as a nurse and went full-time into the business. Now, we went from $500,000 to what? To 28,000. What do you think my friends and family were thinking? You crazy. Okay. So my first 3 years were actually okay. I made 97,000 instead of 500,000. I made 203. Then my third year, I made 151. That was my toughest year in the business. Why? Because I was back on my mortgage. I owed about 50,000 in fees for my kids. And things were not going very well. I called my friends and family to borrow some money. I'm like, things are tough. They're like, hey, we're not answering your call. You put yourself in that position. My wife goes to the grocery store to buy stuff. She cannot pay for it. So I actually go to the back of the queue all the time. My son had a freak accident. He broke his thigh bone. My wife had to instead of taking an ambulance, she actually drove my son with a swollen leg to the hospital because she was afraid of the bill. Right? So at this point, my wife said, we have to go back to work. And I told her, I said, no, we're not going back to work. We have to finish this. Why? Because they told me, if you do this for 5 years full-time, be financially free the rest of your life. I already worked for 20 years in corporate, and it wasn't working, like for most of you right now. Right? So I told my wife, please, we have to finish the 2 years. She's like, well, the kids cannot get out of private school. So guess what? I tried to pay the fees. I couldn't make it. So I told her we have to sell our house. So we sold our house, went into an apartment just to stay in the business for 2 more years. We had some rental properties, 2 of them. We also lost the walk away from those. So in 2016, I was very broke, but I was full of hope. So the next 2 years, guess what? Boom, everything started changing. By 2020, when COVID happened, boom, we hit our first million in WFG. And every year after sales, we made at least $1 million extra every year. Think about that for a job. What kind of opportunity can give you something like this? Right? Now, why is that possible? Because I have over 13,000 licensed financial professionals making a difference in our communities. Make sense? In the last 12 months, we have lots of families, over 130 million in premium. We had a pay of $128 million as a small team. Make sense? So this has changed my family lifestyle significantly. We travel the world, we go all over with my family, right? We've also transformed the financial industry itself. This is top leaders in our company by 2026. I don't have all of them, but you can see that what is significantly different. All the assets, those are people that are part of our team. So guess what? We have what I call Vision 2020. Okay. One, we want to add $100 trillion of wealth to our community by teaching each of you how this system works. Number 2, we need 10 million licensed financial professionals, and I'm talking global right now. Number 3, every child in our community has to have that life plan that I just told you about. And lastly, this is my personal passion. I want to make sure that 10% 1.5 billion Africans become financially free. I want you guys to know this. This vision that I'm telling you is happening as I'm speaking to you right now. They're going to write books about it. They're going to make movies about it. You're going to hear about it. Question, would you rather just read about this or be part of it? I hope that you want to be part of this. Make sense? So real quick, I'm going to end it very shortly because what? I want to take something home with you. It's what I call the 2 most important financial numbers. No matter what you are, who you are, you need to know these numbers for yourself. Okay? You've heard from Nikki, you've heard from Lionel, you've heard from me. Now this is about you. So pay attention. In your life, you have to know these 2 numbers. How much do you need to protect your family? That's number 1. And number 2, how much do you need to retire on your own terms if you plan to retire? When it comes to the protection, we use a formula called DIME. If you had debt, do you want to pass the debt to your family and have it paid by the system? Your income, do you want them to bury with your income or be left with your family? If you have a mortgage, you want to pass the mortgage to your kids or the house. And the last one, when we die, they're going to be a final expense regardless. Okay, you can have expenses for your kids' education as well. You can let the system pay it, or you have your kids suffer. Make sense? So I would like people to calculate it. So if you are here, please try to do this for yourself. My simple example, if you have 50,000 in debt, you make 75,000, multiply that by 10. Okay, you owe about 300,000 mortgage. You have expenses, education for your kids. If you add this up, this was $1.2 million. Okay, this is a simple example. Please, if you're here for the first time, you need to know your number. Okay. In terms of retirement, you have to ask yourself some questions. There's what we call a financial independence number. At what age do you plan to retire, and what is your life expectancy? How much do you want to have saved for retirement? How much do you want to get every month during retirement? And what things do you want to do? Right? So you have to calculate your FIN number. So my example here is a 50-year-old that plans to retire at age 65 and wants to live to age 85. Okay. So number one, they have 15 years to work. Number two, they're going to be in retirement for 20 years. Number three, assume they want to make 10,000 every month when they're not working anymore. For 12 months, that's what 120,000. And then you multiply that by 20 years, that's 2.4 million. That's their financial independence number. You need to know yours. Let's say this person right now has saved 3,000. They still have a shortfall of what? $2.1 million, and they have 15 years left to work. Which means what? They have to save at least $140,000 a year, or over $11,000 a month. How many of you can afford to save that amount of money in one right now? Probably not. So question, are you on track to retire by default or by design? That's a question you need to be asking yourself. Okay, so do you want to retire by default or by design? Hopefully you want to retire by design. Do you have a plan designed for your retirement right now? Would you rather pay for that plan or have it complimentary? Why am I asking? Is because we can help you with this. Make sense? So remember those three things I told you. If you get sick, you're going to need what? A plan called term living benefits. If you die, you probably want to have what? A legacy plan. And number three, if you want to retire, we're going to help you in two ways. One, if your money is in the wrong accounts, we can help you with the FIA. Or if you want to grow money going forward, we use the IUL strategy. That makes sense? So our goal is to help you build a solid financial foundation by what? Starting from the ground up. The bottom line is what you need life insurance as a starting point. That's why we said life insurance to start with. Number two, you have to get out of debt. Number three, you need to have an emergency fund. And then once you have extra savings, and IUL, for example, will be the best place you use to do this. But guess what? We need to already check this in by doing what I call a financial health check. Every one of you does a medical health check annually, but guess what you don't do? A financial health check. Do you realize that the financial health check pays for the medical health check, but you do the medical but no financial? That's what we help you do at no cost to you. Make sense? So guess what? If we can put a complementary plan for you that uses your fin and your dime to give you what? Income protection, set up your retirement goals, and preserve your estate, is that something you want to know about? If that's what we want, you're here for the first time, guess what? Whoever invited you is going to get some information from you to get this plan set up. We good? So even though I've said all these things, I'm almost done. You can have like 1 or 2 slides at the most. Even though I've said all these things, guess what? The Bible says my people pray for lack of knowledge. I just gave you knowledge, right? Nikki just gave you knowledge. Lionel just gave you knowledge. So guess what? You still pray for one reason. And I'll read it for you. Because you have rejected knowledge, I also reject you as my priest. Because you have ignored the law of your God, I will also ignore your children. Do you realize that some of you are suffering from the sins of your parents? Do you want your kids to suffer your sins? I hope not. So guess what? You need to take action when? Now, today. If you're here for the first time, please text the person that invited you like right now and tell them that what we need to sit down ASAP. I'm going to give you last slide right here. You need 3 steps. Number 1, you have to just do the complimentary financial health check. Just by being here, we'll offer that to you totally complimentary. That's step number 1. If you go through that and you like what we do, you want to share that with other people, you can become an advocate. You get a state license. So guess what? You can go share the information. You make a little bit of money on the side. But if you want to be part of that vision, guess what? You can join our business, join our platform, and then guess what? We make an impact together. Listen, people, I'm so excited to be part of this platform. It's totally transformed my life, my community life, and my family. And it has the potential to transform yours if you make the right decision. Thank you, Nikki. I'm going to pass this back to you.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. If I had a microphone, I would drop it right now. That was incredible. I told you guys that was incredibly vision stretching. He's got so much knowledge. He's so good in this area. This is why he's developed so many leaders making multiple six and multiple seven figures in income. And his vision to really redistribute wealth in the African diaspora, both here and in Africa, is absolutely visionary. Thank you so much, Dr. Martin Kwende, for sharing that this evening. Thank you, Lionel, for sharing your story with us this evening. So inspiring, so motivating. And you know what? April is National Financial Literacy Month, but financial literacy starts with each of us. It starts with you. And you can't go back and change the past, but you can start where you're at and change the future. So I want to thank our guest speakers for being on this evening. You're going to see a poll come up. A couple of things before we break this evening, I want to go over with each and every single one of you. Like Dr. Martin Kwende said, listen, if you were on tonight and you said, I need to get some things in place, I've been thinking about it, I've been talking about it, there's some things I don't know about, there's some things I do know about, but I just haven't done yet. You need to get that complimentary plan done. You need to go on our poll and you need to make sure that you click that box. I need to get that plan done. Secondarily, as Dr. Kwende said, I started part-time, Lionel started part-time. Most of us start on a part-time basis. Once I matched my six-figure income here with my six figures at my job, I fired my boss. I said, I quit, and I have not looked back since. And thank goodness I had the courage to step out of my comfort zone and make that happen for my family. And maybe you want to do that too. And maybe both, maybe both, probably both. If I was you, I would check, yes, I need to get all of that knowledge Dr. Kwende just talked about. Who wouldn't? And yes, I definitely want to get the mentorship, the coaching, the development. Don't be the one that's financially illiterate. Don't be the one that doesn't create the generational wealth for you and your family and generations to come. Now, last as we close out this evening, as you guys are signing up for the poll, last thing I want to go over is, once again, make sure that you're following us on Instagram at The Real BELC. We also, for agents in our business, agents, if you're an agent, licensed coded agent, or just coded agent with our company, we are having our breakout event. It's going to be the event of the year. So if you're not registered, we're going to put the registration in the chat, tickets.therealbelc.com. You don't want to miss that breakout event in Vegas. That's going to be a night of celebration, recognition. You're going to meet people like Dr. Kwende and Lionel. We'll all be there as a Black Excellent Leadership Council. Don't miss out on that event. Get signed up. It's going to max out, you guys. It's at a club, so it only holds so many people. So if you don't get your tickets tonight, you may not be able to get in the door. Don't be the person that's standing in line trying to wait to get in the door because you didn't get registered, and get you and your team registered and get your tickets for our breakout event in Las Vegas, right as the Las Vegas WFG convention starts. And then lastly, make sure that you are following us on Instagram at therealbelc.com. And if you want to support our Black excellence, if you've got pride and you want to take pride in who we are and what we do and how we do it, make sure you're supporting our Black excellence event, and you can get it for yourself or your team or your kids or whomever. And I want to thank each and every single one of you for being on tonight. It says a lot that you got on tonight to stretch your vision, raise your thinking, increase your knowledge. But remember, like Dr. Kwende said, knowledge is only powerful when it is applied. Thank you all so much for being on tonight. Have a great week. Let's go be healthy. Let's go be prosperous. And let's continue to have an amazing 2026. Thank you, guys.
Let the church say amen. Y'all ready? This gonna be the year that I break every cycle. Let me testify, right hand on the Bible. They threw me away, but I'm glad God recycled. Joy came in the morning, glad I made it through the night. Man, it's light work. He put you in the dark and see your light work. He died just for you, that's what your life worth. So go ahead and let your light work. Just let it shine. Yeah. We gon' go way, way, way up. It's up. I'm so full of it. Full of His love. I just can't get enough. Yeah. So let the church say, if you agree with everything He said, let the church say,